This episode of Man of Prestige, okay? You gotta be secure in yourself, okay? Some guru is gonna tell you because you're quiet on certain things, you're a simp. You gotta be careful with that. Slow down, okay? Everything is not exactly what they look like on the surface, okay? The most powerful people in the world are not the most loudest. Go figure, right? So you gotta be very secure in yourself, almost to the point that people that don't know what's going on, they're gonna see you as weak. But it's not necessarily weak. You know what you're doing, right? But being secure simply includes what I said earlier. Leverage her leadership skills. She wants to handle that, let her handle that. She says, hey, can you handle this for me? Hey, babe, I got you. Of course I got you, babe. Right? She want to come and just relax on your shoulders and anything like that. After leading 20 people at work, you just want to be that rock. You want to be ready for that because she's going to need that without saying it. And you shouldn't wait for her to say it. That's part of what we're talking about. You can't. All right, welcome back. So there are 7 things you need to master before engaging alpha females in relationships. Okay. A lot of modern women are going to be alpha females. Some of them will be self-proclaimed. Some of them are not actually alpha female. Some of them are just trying to protect themselves because they've heard enough news. They hang out too much on Clubhouse. They've heard too many negative, terrible, bad relationship experiences, or they've had some of those themselves. So some of them will suddenly become alpha female because of that. Some of them are naturally alpha females because they're leaders at their place of work. They've taken care of themselves. They've been on by themselves for a while. You may hear them say things like, I love being a leader. You may hear them say things like, I think marriage is a partnership. I personally don't think marriage is a partnership like that. Of course, there's tons of different types of partnership going on in a marriage. I could be in my marriage, right, and I can partner with my wife, even in actual business, right? I can partner with my wife in building the home, yes, right? But even in partnerships, there's a structure of leadership. So, and if I had to pick one between leadership and partnership, there has to be a structure of leadership. There has to be something that we both agree is leading us. So for a lot of religious people, that will be God as the center of their marriage. They will say, hey, we have me, we have you, and then we have God, right? What's the purpose of that? The purpose of that is that they need to align in unity, in one accord, on the principles that's going to drive them. And if you don't do that, humans by ourselves, we are chaotic. We're all over the place. Okay, we get caught up in emotions, men or women. And if you don't have, people change feelings, people have different things that they're interested in. But when you have some kind of core principle that you both align together with, it automatically pushes division away. Because the main problem that most people have in relationships is division. It doesn't matter if it's alpha female, alpha male, masculine, feminine. When there's division, there is division. And division means division. It just means we're not seeing eye to eye. We haven't agreed on the same set of principles. So we keep butting heads. For some people, it takes time to get to that space. It's another reason why trying to figure everything out before you get into a relationship is going to fail always. Because you're going to get to know each other. Not just each other, you get to know yourself. There's something about you that you don't know until you're inside of a relationship, a romantic relationship. So when people say, find yourself first before you get into a relationship, it's a bunch of bullshit. You cannot find yourself completely, accurately, 100% until you've been inside a relationship. Now, if you've been inside a relationship and you're not out of a relationship, yes, you can now find yourself because you have context. You have a frame of reference to know what we're even talking about, to be able to comprehend it, right? But if you have never been in one and somebody told you just stay single so you can find yourself, it's a lie. It's a scam. It's not gonna work. Okay. Does that mean you shouldn't know as much as you can? No, you should try to know as much as you can, but you should not try to hold time hostage while you're trying to do that. Time does not wait for nobody. Okay, so with that being said, we're talking about before engaging alpha females in relationships. There are 7 things to master. Number 7, leadership. Okay, now here's what I mean by leadership. She will come to the table with that sense of, I'm a leader. We're gonna be leading together. This is a partnership. Patience, right? Being able to be an actual leader. See, because somebody say they're a leader and actually being a leader are two different things. Okay, If she says she likes being a leader and she thinks she's in a partnership, that it doesn't matter. Let her say that. She could get away with that. It doesn't matter. If you respond to that negatively because you've been listening to the wrong guru, it's gonna backfire. Instead of talking about it, why just be about it? Allow her to say that. When you do that, you are effectively being the leader. Not only are you being the leader, there's a second part to this. You actually get to leverage her leadership skills, because there is a good chance that she could be a good leader. There are certain aspects of your life where she could actually be able to lead better than you. You leverage that. It's the same thing that all of these different bosses and all these corporate 500 Fortune 500 companies, that's the same thing they do. They find people that are better and put them in particular positions. They find better data scientists. They don't have to be a data scientist. You want to be a data scientist? Sure. Where's your resume? Good. Stay right there. I'll pay you. She wants to be a good leader. You be the leader. You don't have to say you're a leader. If you have to say you're a leader, there's a good chance you're not a leader, right? So be the leader, leverage her leadership. Okay? Same thing with number 6, partnership. She's going to use the word partnership a lot. Marriage is a partnership. When women say that, I just let them say that. Okay? If you think that, right? But here's a problem. When you don't show up as a leader, that same lady that told you that marriage is a partnership, she's going to call you a bitch because you don't know how to lead. If you try to compete with her in an argument, she's going to call you a bitch, that you're in your feminine energy, if you continue to not let things slide in the middle of toxic argument. And you did that because she told you it's a partnership, so she's supposed to understand. She's supposed to be an adult too. That's why your marriage is going to break. Exactly why your relationship will break over and over again. And guess who gets to suffer even when they're right? You. Okay? You get to suffer that. You get to have all of these bad experiences just because you want to be right. Okay? She thinks it's a partnership. She has the right to be right. Allow her to be right. Leverage her leadership. Okay? But don't you ever fall for that, because a leader will be required when romance entangles with emotions and all of these different feelings that will show up to the table. Everyone's going to forget that there's supposed to be some kind of partnership, right? Number 5 thing that you must master if you're engaging alpha females in relationships is the weak versus secure thing. Okay? You got to be secure in yourself. Okay? Some guru is going to tell you because you're quiet on certain things, you're a simp. You got to be careful with that. Slow down. Okay? Everything is not exactly what they look like on the surface. Okay? The most powerful people in the world are not the most loudest. Go figure. Right? So you got to be very secure in yourself, almost to the point that people that don't know what's going on, they're going to see you as weak. But it's not necessarily weak. You know what you're doing, right? But being secure simply includes what I said earlier. Leverage her leadership skills. She want to handle that, let her handle that. She says, hey, can you handle this for me? Hey, babe, I got you. Of course I got you, babe. Right? She want to come and just relax on your shoulders and anything like that. After leading 20 people at work, you just want to be that rock. You want to be ready for that, because she's going to need that without saying it. And you shouldn't wait for her to say it. That's part of what we're talking about. You can't wait for her to say it like, oh, you're the leader. No, don't wait for her. Just be the leader. Okay? So, weak versus secure. You cannot have confusion between the two. Sometimes it may look weak on the surface to some of your buddies, your homies and stuff like that, but it's just you're secure. You know your lady, and you're okay with whenever she wants to admit that she needs someone to lead her, right? She doesn't need to admit it, just lead. Okay, just lead, whatever that means. Okay, sometimes leading means you're quiet and you're relaxed and you're very secure in yourself. That's what it means a lot of times. Okay, number 4, assertiveness versus confidence. You should be assertive, okay, but there's a place of over assertiveness when you're dealing with an alpha female. If she's going to receive your assertiveness as being rude, disrespectful, it doesn't mean you're disrespectful. She's receiving it that way because that's the way her brain functions, right? If she's receiving it that way, you have to pay attention to that. Why is she receiving it that way? Is it because she's alpha female? Okay, back off a little bit. Let me tell you something. A leader knows when to back off. Alpha men, not male, because you're not a lion, you're not an animal, you're not a machine. Alpha men knows when to back off. When to back off is when backing off means greater rewards for you in the very short term to long term period. Does that make sense? All right, so assertiveness, confidence. An alpha female appreciates confidence more than assertiveness, meaning running your mouth in the name of being an alpha male. It goes back to the security thing. You have to be secure in yourself. If you feel the need to run your mouth before you feel like a leader, being with an alpha female will backfire 100% of the time. Okay. Number 3, you have to understand the masculine and the feminine energy dynamics. You have to. Okay. If you don't understand, it, it's gonna work against you. Okay. If you don't understand it, if you don't understand the sexual polarity that is created by the masculine and the feminine energy when they come together, it's a backfire. Now you have to understand the masculine frame. I have an entire video on the masculine frame. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and watch that video on the 8 SMPs of the masculine frame. You need to bring that to the table. Again, if you confuse that with being loud or competing with your lady in argument, it's going to backfire. Okay, especially when you are in a relationship with either a self-proclaimed or an actual alpha female. Both of them, they operate the same way as far as you're concerned, because if she's self-proclaimed alpha female, you need to believe her is your best leverage point. Okay, and then secondary, you have to obviously watch her behavior. Her behavior will be the most authentic form of what she actually is. Over time, you know what she is, right? Sometimes they just feel safe and secure and they relax into being with you, and you don't see that alpha female thing anywhere anymore. But if you argue with the self-proclaimed alpha female, is she alpha female or not, she's going to argue back with you and say, yes, I'm alpha female. And what are you going to do about it, right? The reason why you end up in that is because you lost your masculine frame. You got into your feminine. All right, so let's go on to number 2. Number 2 thing to master if you're engaged. If you engage an alpha female in a relationship, emotional intelligence. Okay, just because you're intelligent, you're smart, you're a student, you understand data, facts, and all these different things. I know way too many single guys, self-proclaimed single by intentions. They're all liars. Most of them are lying. Okay, the people that are actually single by choice, they're usually not loud about it. Okay, if they're loud about how single they are and how much they've avoided marriage, there's a good chance that's not a choice. That wasn't a choice. It's bad experiences that led them into concluding that they should avoid the ladies. But you get the point. Okay, you get the gist. The reason is because emotional intelligence is different from IQ, right? Intelligence quotient and all this kind of. We're talking about EQ now. Understanding feelings, right? Understanding that feelings are far from reality, but they are reality. If that is too complicated for you to understand, that's why you're probably failing in romantic relationships. Okay, let me repeat that. Okay, feelings are far from reality, but they are the reality. 85% of your reality, every single one of us. Okay, you try to discount that, it works even more so against you, the whole thing. Like, it's just be chaotic, right? So number one thing, the first thing to master if you're engaging alpha females in relationships is the inverted sexual polarity. Okay, it's kind of related to the masculine feminine energy thing that I mentioned earlier. This is the fact of the matter. Okay, when you go into a romantic relationship and you spend a lot of time on facts and data, right? And you're in a relationship with an alpha female, there's a good chance that she's also like you. There's a highly, because again, she's engaged in all this argument, she's ready to debate you down, right? Debate you down. Here's the problem. She's gonna mix all of that vibe, the whole data and facts thing. She probably knows more data than you, by the way. And she's gonna mix it up with the woman, the feminine energy that's present in most women, right? And she's gonna be all over the place. That's gonna frustrate the hell out of you and bring the feminine out of you. She still has feminine in her. It's just misplaced, masculine, mixed up together all over the place. It's chaotic, right? And what's that gonna do? You're gonna wonder why there's awkwardness and you can't have sex for straight 2 weeks because everybody is stuck on data and facts. Yeah, you gotta be careful with that. She will bring the data and facts. She's probably more accurate than you are. Probably, right? The last thing you want to do is compete with that. What you want to do is bring that vibe to the day. Make her feel safe. Like, oh, that's what the data says? Oh, it's awesome, babe. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Data are stupid anyway. It's just they're all within certain context. They're subject to interpretation. They're stupid anyway. What happens when you engage in toxic arguments with your lady over facts and data is, you know what happens. You know what happens. It's just bad. It's just bad, right? You effectively remove the feelings of romance out of that equation. You lose respect, right? You find yourself in a place where you have to start demanding respect and demanding submission. Well, you bring yourself down to equal with her, right? See, all humans are equal. That's a different context. In this context, you're not the same. You're supposed to create sexual polarity, but now you have inverted sexual polarity because you are competing with her. When you compete with people, you become their equal. And basically everything is fair at that point, including whatever is not fair. Does that make sense? So the last but not least, facts, data, inverted sexual polarity.